Shakur Stevenson has taken the fight world by storm, but here's what boxers really think of Shakur. Terence Crawford really thinks that Shakur is something special, and he thinks that Shakur can beat everybody. Terence stated, "Y'all already know, nobody beat Shakur. I'm saying Shakur beat everybody. It doesn't matter who it is, Shakur beating them. It doesn't matter. Shakur over everybody. That's how it's gonna be. Man, that boy's special. That boy's special. Shakur is one of a kind, you know what I mean? He adapts to every fighter, and then once he adapts to you, it's a long night. We saw Shakur go forward. We saw Shakur stay in the pocket, you know what I mean? We did see Shakur move, how defensive-minded he was. Shakur is just all around a great fighter." Bob Arum seems to agree with Terence, and he actually thinks that Shakur has the potential to pass Floyd Mayweather in terms of greatness. Bob stated, "Talent-wise, he's magnificent. You have to give Floyd credit. He had a tremendous career. To surpass Mayweather's career takes a lot. Now, I think Shakur has the ability. Whether he wants to work as hard as Floyd did, both marketing himself and fighting, is up to Shakur. Great technicians. They can sit down and fight if they have to, but their boxing skills are enormous, both of them. Obviously, Floyd with his long career, but Shakur is demonstrating this fantastic boxing ability that very few fighters are blessed with." Gervonta Davis, on the other hand, isn't the biggest fan of Shakur.
Some of your 135 contemporaries have a lot to say these days. Shakur Stevenson, well, of course he's now at 135 after all that stuff, and then Devin Haney.
Right, so why people even talk like he the best at, he didn't even fight at 135 yet.
Right.
He didn't even have power at 126, 30, or none of that.
He is good.
Okay. How can you, all that's just okay. How can you stop people that can actually hit? No matter all that boxing, you going to get hit. What you gonna do when you get hit?
Claressa Shields is a big fan of Shakur though, and she thinks he can achieve greatness as well. Claressa stated, "Shakur would come out on top. The only one who you could say it would be out of Shakur and Devin or Shakur and Tank, but Devin and Shakur are phenomenal boxers, and then Tank just knocks people out left and right. But let's be real, Shakur getting hit 6% in his fights. These guys landed 6% on Shakur, and he's landing at over 50% power shots. When you land like that and dudes can't hit you back, Shakur's the man. To me, he's the next pound for pound. He's the next Floyd Mayweather." Devin Haney spoke about how they were once friends, but he understands what it means to be rivals for the sake of greatness.
Yeah, me and Shakur been knowing each other since we were kids. You know, we know each other well. We sparred numerous times as kids, but now, you know, friends, we're friends then, but now we're rivals. I mean, we knew that one day it would come. It might be now, it might be later. We just got to see when we align and when we're going to get it on.
Floyd Mayweather definitely thinks that Devin and the organization should have treated Shakur fairly as to set up a fight, and he stated, "Devin made Shakur a 75-25 offer just because Top Rank made you go to Australia twice, which is not right. You need to be upset with the promoter. Shakur should be treated fair, just like Devin should have been." Shane Mosley doesn't think that Haney really wants to fight Shakur though, and he sees Shakur beating Haney. Shane stated, "That means he doesn't want to fight. Come on, man, stop it. You know what type of fighter he is. That's what you do when you don't want to fight somebody. I actually don't know. My mind says Shakur probably wins, but it would be hard for Shakur." Bill Haney seems to think that Shakur needs more experience before he fights big boys like Devin.
All I hear is Shakur in the media. All I hear is people in the media keep talking about the fight. Well, how come I don't get a call? How come Devin don't get a call, right? Because it's all Lomachenko is a bad motor scooter, right? Maybe Shakur needs more development, which is good, make for a great fight. But I'm saying this, let's stop the cap.
Rolly Romero definitely isn't a fan of Shakur either, and he seems to think that he's a rather uninspired fighter. Rolly stated, "I mean, if you can't knock people out, you're one of the worst fighters in the history of boxing, and honestly, he's the worst thing for the damn sport. Like, I'm going to touch you, but I'm not going to hurt you because I don't want to hurt you because boxing is a no-contact sport. It's a point sport. They can say whatever they want. They can hype him up and all that stuff, but I really feel bad for him because there's no way they could put him on a pay-per-view. He can't sell a fight. Even Calvin Ford seems to think that Shakur just likes to put on a tough guy act without being able to back it up.
The only person I can really give salute to is Shakur because he grew up with him. You know, that's why I get on Shakur. You know, sometimes he changes his media, try to be that tough guy, big dad. Let's keep it real. We grew up together. Me and your grandfather, we cool. You know what I'm saying? But pure boxing. You know what I'm saying? They know Tank is different. You notice they don't say nothing like, you know what I'm saying? If you that dude, you gonna go, you know what I'm saying? They don't do that with Tank. They know Tank don't play like that. You know, my mom used to say, if it's beef, you know when it's beef with us. You know what I'm saying? Because we carry it like that. But we try to stay humble. This is a sport. But guys start to run their mouth and forget who they talking to.
Joe Cordina seems to think that Shakur is something special though, and he'd love to fight him soon. Joe stated, Shakur is special, he just does everything perfectly. Well, I wouldn't say perfect, everyone's got flaws, but he did everything he needed to do to win on the night. It went exactly as I thought it'd go. Yeah, I'd love that fight. I'm smiling because me being mentioned in a unification fight is a dream come true, but I've got to do my job next Saturday. I've got to win that title and then we can talk. If I don't win it, then that's not on his mind and he's going to chase the other titles. I've got to do a job next Saturday. Sean Porter thinks that Shakur is a step ahead of everyone at his weight class and he'd love to see him fight Vasily Lomachenko. Sean stated, that fight makes sense. I think that Shakur is steps ahead of everybody. He's right there with Devin Haney. He's right there with Tank. I think he's a step ahead of Vasily Lomachenko. I truly think the boxing world has caught up to Loma. For a long time, he was ahead of his time, and I think that time has caught up with him. Jamel Herring fought Shakur and he understands just how hard it is to land a punch on Shakur. Jamel stated, it's hard to bet against Shakur, but I like Devin, but I'ma pick Shakur. He beat me. I didn't consider myself a slouch. I was a champion in my own right. Shakur is one of the hardest people to land a punch on. Devin has great defensive skills as well, but it's like Shakur is just different. After Shakur's last fight, Tim Bradley couldn't stop saying enough good things about Shakur.
Now, got the knockout, got the stoppage. He didn't flatten the guy, but he would have if the fight would have continued. He doesn't move all that often. He stays in the pocket. Literally, like you can put him in the phone booth, him and his opponent in the phone booth, and he's standing right there, not getting hit. And hitting and landing his own offense. So, like, what else can you say about him? You know, he's given us spectacular performances. You know what I mean? That's not boring. If that's boring to you, you don't need to watch boxing. That's smart, intelligent, dominating boxing.
Eddie Hearn definitely thinks that Shakur is unbeatable at 135, and he stated, it's obviously more difficult to make a cross-promotional fight. I don't see Devin beating Shakur. Shakur Stevenson, for me, as fond as I am of Devin Haney, Shakur Stevenson, for me, I think he's unbeatable. I think he's a tremendous talent. He's a little bit stuck in the same bracket as not a huge draw in terms of his ability and in terms of his achievements, but he's outstanding. I don't see anyone beating Shakur Stevenson at 135. He's one of those guys like Loma that's going to get beat by moving through the divisions. Canelo is another good example, potentially Naoya Inoue. No matter what, Terence Crawford definitely has Shakur in his top 5 fighters list for boxers.
The top 5 in boxing right now. Right now.
Champions or just anybody?
Top 5 right
anybody.
now.
Shakur #1, hands down. Tank, he up there. Canelo. Inoue. Tyson Fury.
Damn.
Mike Tyson's always been a big fan of Gervonta Davis, but he sees Shakur as one of the few people out there who could ruin Davis' record. Tyson stated, he is truly right. He is the face of boxing, but that's because Ryan Garcia is the draw. It's a great possibility that Tank Davis could go undefeated his whole career. But then you've got Devin Haney and Shakur. Those guys, they're very good. Those are the only two guys who are possibly a threat to him. I know they've boxed before, and some people have the advantage over others in sparring, but sparring's not like fighting. For some reason, people don't fight as hard as they spar, and some people don't train as hard as they fight. It's just a strange dynamic in that. Gary Russell Jr. is another huge fan of Shakur, and he sees him beating everyone. Gary stated, "I feel like Shakur, out of all of them, is the nicest. I feel he can fight better than any of them. When Shakur was at 126, I was throwing his line too. Shakur moved from 126 to 130. This is why I like Shakur. Even when someone talks, I still give someone their credit. He's a young man, he's developing, and went to the Olympics with my younger brother. He was one of the youngest that would come down there and get some sparring and put some work in. I can respect that. I think he's better than Devin Haney. I think he's better than Tank. I think he'd beat Tank. I think he'd beat all those dudes. I think he's more put together. The difference between him and a lot of the other guys is they're just athletic." If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe and check out some of our other videos on the screen right now.